Hi, we're in Gothenburg, Sweden. My name is Christoffer Berg and this is my studio. Welcome. I moved into this production room 10 years ago and I've been here since then. Some overdubs on the Fury record was like the first thing I did here. Then I've been sharing it a little bit with Jose Gonzales. The main studio is called Svenska Grammofon Studion, the studio of Kalle Gustafsson Järnholm, he was the bass player for a band called The Soundtrack of Our Lives. Pretty much built this place from scratch. It was like an old empty warehouse and he built 3 different levels in this warehouse and put his collection of amazing gear. Yeah, the main Neve console in Studio A is from Mountain Studios in Montreux, which is famous for Bowie's Heroes album being mixed on that console. Queen did all their famous records there, so they actually came from the Queen Museum in Montreux to do like a wooden replica of that mixing console that's in the Queen Museum now in Montreux. This is a Eurorack modular system. I love this one. So diverse. It's like a filter, separate out for the poles, and I use it a lot as a quadraphonic LFO. This is a sequencer from Coma Electronic called Coma Complex Sequencer. Martin has this old EML synthesizer, a US modular from the 70s, that had 4 independent sequencers for different purposes, and I just loved the musical results you can get from a sequencer when you have separate rows for pitch. You can control gate time with an actual row of sequencer controls. Korg Monopoly, I've had this for years. It's got a Tubutech MIDI brain so it's got extended play modes, and as you see when I play this, it goes also to the Moog. LL Electronics Rosbox 1 version 2. I had to search wide to find one because they're super rare. I think something like 50 units were ever made in Germany in 2008, 10 years ago. 5-voice synthesizer with 4 digital oscillators per voice, and it's got digital filter, analog filter and tube filter and bucket brigade delay. And this is a TT303 that's modified by a guy in the Netherlands, Midnight Engineering. So it's kind of a cheap version of the Devilfish mod, kind of. This is a Voyager XL. It's one of the last ones that they ever made, and I was lucky enough to get one that was a pretty special version. They did this panel for a Tolex. They call it the Tolex XL. And being a huge fan and lover of the old Moog systems, I just really like the reference to those old System 55 panels. called the EMS Synthi VCS3, or the Putney. It's a funny story. It's not mine. I'm taking care of it. It was bought from EMS in London in 1967 to an experimental sound studio started by the city of Gothenburg to give, you know, junior high school kids at a school the tools to experiment with sound. This is the first serially produced analog synthesizer in Europe. So what's going on here is we're creating a feedback loop that sort of happens within the cymbals. Instead of a speaker and a microphone creating feedback in the air, the feedback happens in the cymbals and we hear the feedback from the outside. I have a maths module here basically controlling the gain of that feedback loop. It's this thing I came up with for a score I've been working on in the past 6 months or so. This is the Model D Minimoog reissue they did a couple of years back. It was a dream come true to get a Minimoog, and when I got this I felt like I could almost throw 75% of my other synthesizer collection out, because I mean I use this all the time and it's perfect for making the most simple sounds. They just sound fantastic.